In the fall of 1983, Frank Hursey was a very happy man. At 40, he had been contentedly married to his wife, Nancy, a nurse, for the last 15 years. He had thriving children, 2 girls and a boy, and he lived in a modest but comfortable house in the leafy and pleasant suburb of West Hartford, Connecticut. Frank was an untroubled person by nature, a lean man of medium height with thick and just slightly graying brown hair and a relatively unlined face. Frank was the kind of person, mild-mannered and unintimidating, that strangers approached on the street to ask for directions. A mechanical engineer by training, he had been the first in his family to go to college. Over a period of 10 years, he went to night school while working full-time during the day to earn a bachelor's degree from the University of Hartford. He then got a master's degree in business administration from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. This degree, he would joke, took him only 6 years to finish. When Frank was a teenager, his mother, a strong-willed woman and a devout Catholic, had suggested that her son read Norman Vincent Peale's self-help book, The Power of Positive Thinking, which counseled its readers to immediately replace negative thoughts with more placid and hopeful ones. Over the course of his life, Frank had succeeded at following that advice to a rather remarkable degree. Now, on the cusp of middle age, his life was full and busy, with Boy Scout pack meetings and school plays, Mass on Sundays, dinners with Nancy and their small circle of friends, but most of all, his work. With rare exceptions, he conducted his life and his affairs in an unruffled manner and with an optimistic spirit. Frank had grown up poor in Dillon, South Carolina, the small and largely indigent town in the pine woods and swamplands of the central part of the state. The main industry, really the sole industry, was timber and pulp and paper processing. His father, who had suffered from the effects of polio since childhood, died in his early 50s, most likely from being poisoned by the lead he used daily in his work as a linotype operator at a newspaper printing plant. When Frank was 16, he surprised his father one day at work. It was the end of the shift, and Frank watched as his father punched out on the time clock. Frank never forgot the look of shame that cloaked his father's face in that moment. Frank made a promise to himself that one day he would have a career in which he did not have to work on anybody else's schedule. Frank went on to the University of South Carolina on a full scholarship, but was asked to leave during his freshman year because he couldn't concentrate on his coursework. He was too distracted and upset by his father's decline, and indeed, his father died not long after Frank left college. Frank's father spent his final weeks in a hospital 2 blocks from the family's home. In those last days, when Frank stood on the sidewalk outside the hospital, he could hear his father screaming in pain from his sickbed inside. After the death, the family, Frank, his mother, and his 2 sisters, one of whom had Down syndrome, moved to Connecticut, where they were taken in by an uncle who worked as a union organizer. Frank immediately took to Connecticut. He liked the cooler climate, the defined seasons, the greater tolerance for his family's Catholic religion, and the fact that there were job opportunities in industry and technology. He met Nancy at a party and married her 6 months later. He was only 21.